The Galactic Union was the largest alliance of alien species in the galaxy. They were proud, powerful, and rich in knowledge. They believed they were the center of all intelligence. They controlled thousands of planets, each filled with strange life and strong technology. For many years, they believed they had nothing to fear. They believed they were alone at the top. One day, during a regular meeting in the Grand Hall of Stars, an old alien scientist named Varric stood to speak. He had studied strange signals coming from a small blue planet near the edge of the galaxy. The planet was called Earth. Varric raised his voice. "We must be careful. These humans are not like other species. They grow fast, learn fast, and fight. Harder than anyone I have seen. Their world is small, but they are dangerous." The council laughed. Many alien leaders turned to each other, shaking their heads. "They live on a dirt planet," one leader said. "They barely left their moon. What threat could they be?" Another leader chuckled. "Let them fly their little ships. They are nothing. We will crush them like we crushed others before." Varric tried to speak again, but his words were ignored. The council moved to the next topic. Back on Earth, the humans had grown more silent. They had stopped sending messages into space. They had stopped welcoming visitors. The old days of peace and hope were over. Something had changed. A cold wind moved across the stars. Captain Rachel Moore walked through the long steel halls of the Earth's Defense Command. Her boots clicked on the floor. She looked serious. She had seen something the others refused to believe. She stepped into a meeting room and faced the leaders of Earth's top nations. "We have picked up scans," she said. "There are fleets moving near the edges of our solar system. Big ones, alien signatures. They are watching us." One general leaned forward. "Are they preparing for war?" Rachel nodded. "Yes, I believe they are." The room went quiet. No one spoke for a moment. Then an older man, President Leo Carter, stood and looked around the room. "We warned them," he said. "They never listened. Now they come to test us. Let them come." While the Galactic Union made jokes and dismissed the warnings, humans had built something in silence. Deep under the oceans, behind the dark side of the moon, and hidden in empty parts of space, they had worked without rest. Earth had not wasted its time. They had learned from every alien who had visited. They had copied their ships, broken their codes, and trained their people. Years ago, when the first alien ship came in peace, Earth had listened. Then came others, less friendly. Earth remembered. Earth never forgot. In the distant part of the galaxy, the Union fleet gathered. Over 500 ships, big and small, prepared for the peaceful mission to Earth. They would arrive with weapons ready, shields up, and orders clear. Show power, control humans, take what Earth had. General Voslak, of the Zethari race, lead. The fleet, his skin was red and hard like stone. He had crushed many before. He looked at Earth like a small rock that needed breaking. "Once we land," he told his officers, "we will show them who rules the stars." But Earth was not waiting. In fear, in secret bases, pilots climbed into black ships with no markings. Weapons powered up. AI systems went online. Satellites blinked. The humans had prepared for this moment. Rachel Moore stood on the bridge of the main defense ship. The ship was silent, hidden behind the moon. Her crew moved quickly. No one needed orders. Everyone knew what to do. "They are coming," said her second-in-command. "Aaron Price, 15 hours until they enter our space." Rachel looked at the screen. Small dots of light moved closer. She took a deep breath. Tell the others, it begins now. Across the planet, people were told to stay in shelters. Lights were turned off in cities. Drones flew in patterns high. Above the clouds, missiles were loaded. Lasers charged. Earth stood ready. The Union fleet came closer. They saw no defense. They saw no ships. They laughed again. They hide like insects, said one commander. Then the stars moved. At first it looked like space was blinking. Then came the fire. Human ships came from the shadows. Not just one or two, but hundreds. Some were large, shaped like knives. Others were small and fast, like wasps. They did not speak. They did not warn. They attacked. The sky burned. The alien ships did not believe what they saw. Human fighters flew like they were made for war. Their ships were smaller but faster. They moved with purpose. They struck with skill. Explosions filled the dark space above Earth. The alien commander Voslok shouted across his command deck. Hold the line. Hit them back. They are only humans. But even he knew the truth now. These were not simple humans. These were soldiers trained for this moment. Their weapons were strange. Their movements hard to track. The human fleet did not run. It came closer. On Earth, deep underground, Lisa Brooks worked inside the Horizon Control Center. She looked at the data with focus. Numbers flashed on the screen. She turned to her team. Titan array is charging, she said. 7 minutes until full power. A young tech replied, enemy ships are shifting. They are trying to circle behind our defense line. Lisa tapped a button. A call opened to the orbital command. Jake Monroe answered. His voice was calm. They're changing tactics, Lisa told him. They want to hit the moon base and knock out our secondary fire systems. Jake looked at the battle map. Send. The drones, all of them, use silent run mode. Across Mars's orbit, thousands of small black drones came to life. They had no lights, no sound. They flew in the dark. The alien sensors did not see them. They moved like shadows in deep space. In less than a minute, they reached the enemy rear line. The drones opened fire without warning. Missiles struck the engines. Lasers sliced through the command bridges. Alien ships started to break apart. A whole section of the enemy fleet collapsed. In the moon base, Captain Mara Alden led her squad into battle. Her ship flew between debris and fire. She pressed her comms. All fighters, follow me. Strike hard, no second pass. Her squad obeyed. They moved in a sharp arc. Each one dropped bombs designed to pierce heavy shields. The sky turned red with explosions. Inside the alien control ship, panic grew. Voslok stared at the screen as ships vanished. There, everywhere, his second-in-command cried, "We cannot stop them." Voslak slammed his fist on the control panel. "Retreat to Formation Zeta. We hold the line." But the humans had already broken that line. On Earth, President Leo Carter spoke to the leaders of every nation through a secure link. This is not only an attack on our land. It is a test of who we are. We will not fall. We will not forget. And we will not forgive. People across the world listened. They stayed quiet. They stayed strong. They trusted their fighters in space. Back at Sentinel-1, Jake Monroe watched the drone feed. His eyes were cold and focused. "They thought we were weak," he said. "They were wrong." Lisa's voice came through the channel again. "Titan array is ready. Full charge. All 6 satellites are locked on targets. Jake gave the order, fire. Above Earth, 6 giant satellites opened their weapon ports. Long beams of white energy shot across the sky. They hit the enemy fleet from above. The beams tore through the strongest ships. They melted steel and burned reactors. The alien fleet screamed through the radio waves. Lisa watched from the control center. Direct hits. Enemy core ships are falling. Jake looked round his bridge. His crew worked with steady hands. Push them. Don't give them time to regroup. Mara Alden's voice came from the lunar base. Moon squads are moving to support Titan strike zone. We won't let them escape. The alien fleet had lost control. Ships tried to turn away. They tried to run, but Earth's fighters followed. The drones cut off escape paths. Human ships boxed them in. Inside the Galactic Union Council, leaders stared at the screen. The battle was shown live. The feed came from a hidden alien scout ship. It showed human ships tearing apart the best fleets of 5 different species. One council member stood up. How did we miss this? Another said, they were building in silence. We mocked them. We ignored the warnings. Ambassador Varric said nothing. His face showed no joy, only truth. He had warned them. No one had listened. Back in Earth orbit, the last group of alien ships fired wild shots. They hit nothing. The humans moved too fast. They struck too hard. Jake Monroe stood at the front of the command deck. Begin cleanup. Take their command ship. I want their systems scanned. On the ground, Lisa was already working on it. We're pulling data from their black boxes. I see something. There's more. Another fleet. Twice as large. Hidden behind the outer rim. Jake's jaw tightened. This was only the first wave. Lisa nodded. They were testing us. Jake replied, then we passed the test. Now it's our turn. Mara's voice broke in again. The enemy is done. We are mopping up the rest. What are your orders, Commander? Jake looked at the sky map. Pull back to defensive points. Reload, repair. Tell Earth to move to war status. This is just the start. President Carter was told. The Earth Defense Council gathered again that night. No one argued. No one hesitated. Activate full planetary defense, Carter said. Every ship armed. Every base on alert. Every citizen ready. Earth had faced the fire and survived. Now it would prepare for the storm. The stars still burned. The sky was not clear, but now the galaxy knew. The humans were not prey. They were not weak. They were not alone. They were warriors, and they had just begun. The alien ships moved closer to Earth. There were 10 of them. Each one was large, black, and filled with weapons. They flew in silence, passing Saturn and heading toward Mars. They believed humans were weak. They believed this mission would be easy. Inside the lead ship, the Zoroth commander gave orders. Her name was Kelsa. Her skin was dark silver, and her eyes were red. She had never lost a battle. She stood in front of a large screen showing Earth in the distance. We strike hard, we strike fast. Show them no mercy, her crew shouted in. Agreement. On the moon, the human base was already active. Captain Mara Alden walked across the control room. Her team watched the screens. The enemy was getting closer. Mara spoke to Earth Command. Enemy fleet is within range, ready to engage. Jake Monroe answered from Earth. Stand by. We hit first. Deep underground, Lisa Brooks was inside the control center. She watched energy levels rise on her screen. She nodded to the engineers. Bring the Titan array online. 6 satellites. Around Earth lit up. Energy moved through them like lightning. They charged silently, waiting for the command. Jake watched the enemy ships moving in. They still think we are not ready, he said. Let's show them the truth. He pressed a button on his console. In space, hidden ships came to life. Human fighters flew from secret hangars near Mars and the Moon. They moved like shadows, fast and quiet. The alien fleet did not see them until it was too late. The first attack was sudden. Human fighters flew between the alien ships and launched small missiles. Explosions shook the dark sky. 2 alien ships lost power. 1 broke in half. Commander Kelser screamed, "Where did they come from? Return fire." Alien turrets began shooting. Bright lights flew across space. But the humans moved too quickly. They danced through the fire. Their ships were smaller but smarter. Captain Mara Alden led her squad straight into the enemy center. Target their engines. Don't waste shots. Every hit must count. Her team responded. Lasers and bombs hit the enemy fleet again and again. The sky was filled with light. On Earth, people watched from deep shelters. They could see fire in the sky. Children held their parents' hands. No one spoke. Everyone waited. Jake looked at Lisa now. Lisa pressed the final command. Above the Earth, the Titan array fired. Bright white beams shot from each satellite. The beams hit the biggest alien ship. It broke apart in seconds. The light was so bright it turned night into day. Kelser's ship was hit next. Her screen cracked. Sparks flew around her. Her crew screamed. She fell to the floor as the ship shook. "We must retreat," one officer said. "No," Kelser growled. "Fight until the end." But the battle was already lost. Human drones arrived, thousands of them. They flew fast and small, each carrying sharp weapons. They hit every weak point in the alien fleet. Alien ships turned, trying to run, but the drones chased them. One by one, the ships exploded. Back in the council chamber, far away, the leaders watched the battle feed. The room was quiet. A tall alien stood up. "They are destroying our best fighters." Another asked, "How did they build this in secret?" No one had an answer. Ambassador Virik stood at the edge of the room. His voice was low. They did not show their power because they did not want war, but they were ready for it. On Earth, Jake watched the last enemy ship burn. His team clapped, but he did not smile. "This was only the first wave," he said. "They tested us. They will return." Lisa nodded. "We found files in their systems. They planned to send a much larger fleet, 10 times bigger." Mara Alden's voice came through the speaker. "Then we have to strike first. We can't wait for them to come again." Jake looked at the star map. "We'll build more, stronger. We'll take the fight to them." President Carter called a meeting that night. All world leaders joined. They agreed on one thing. Earth would no longer hide. Factories started working day and night. New ships were built. New weapons were tested. Every country gave what it could. Everyone knew the next fight would be bigger. Children were trained in new schools. Teens learned how to fly. Elders told stories of old wars and new enemies. In space, the human flag flew high on every station. Soldiers stood ready. Engineers worked without sleep. Earth was now awake. The first enemy wave had failed. The second wave would be bigger, but this time Earth would be waiting, not in fear, but in fire. The stars above were still dark, but humans were no longer just watchers of the sky. They had become its protectors. Weeks passed after the first battle. The sky above Earth was quiet, but the people knew it would not stay that way. Earth was no longer blind. The humans now understood what waited for them beyond the stars. In a hidden room inside Earth's Defense Command, Jake Monroe met with other top leaders. A large screen showed a wide star map. Red dots moved across the edges. Enemy fleets. "They're coming again," said Jake, this time with a full force. Lisa Brooks stood next to him. "Our scans picked up 3 large fleets, each one bigger than the first one we faced." President Leo Carter appeared on the screen. "Can we hold the line again?" Jake shook his head. "Not if we stay still. We must move first. We must hit them before they get close." Carter nodded. "Then do it. Send everything." Jake turned to the others. "Begin Operation Iron Shield." Across the solar system, human bases lit up. Ships launched from Earth, Mars, the Moon, and even the hidden stations around Jupiter. Soldiers climbed into new warships. Drones were loaded with stronger weapons. Satellites adjusted their positions. Captain Mara Alden stood on the deck of her new flagship. The ship was larger than her last one and armed with the newest tech. She sent a message to all captains. "We fight for Earth. We fight for every child hiding in shelters. We fight so they never have to again." Her voice was clear. Her heart was strong. The human fleet moved toward the edge of the system. Far beyond, the enemy fleet flew forward. It was led by Supreme Warlord Narok, a tall creature with hard black skin and 6 glowing eyes. He had crushed many worlds. "This is the end of Earth," he said. "No one survives this strike." His ships were massive. Each one carried thousands of soldiers, machines, and weapons. He had no fear. He believed victory was already his, but he had not fought humans before. In deep space, near the belt of icy rocks, the human fleet waited. They had turned off their engines to hide their signal. They waited in silence. Then Jake Monroe gave the command, "Now." The silence ended with light. Human ships powered on and flew forward. The enemy fleet did not expect them so far from Earth. Their shields were not ready. Their formations were loose. Human fighters flew straight into them. They dropped bombs and fired lasers. Drones came in waves. The enemy lost 20 ships in the first minute. Warlord Narak roared, "Fight back, burn them." His ships returned fire. The sky turned bright with battle, but the humans had better control. They moved like they were one. Their ships did not fight alone. Every movement was part of a plan. Lisa Brooks guided them from Earth. She watched every signal and sent new commands. "They're weak on the right side," she said. "Push there." Jake relayed the order. Captain Mara took her fleet and crashed into that side of the enemy line. Her ship fired its main weapon, a wide beam of energy that burned through 2 enemy cruisers. The alien fleet was large, but it was not ready for such speed and power. Warlord Narak's second-in-command turned to him. "They are stronger than we thought." "They are only humans," he growled. "No," said the other. "They are something more." In the middle of the fight, a group of human soldiers boarded an enemy ship. They cut through the hull and entered the dark halls. At the front was Corporal Ryan Taylor. He carried a heavy rifle and wore dark armor. Clear the path, he said. They moved fast. Alien guards tried to stop them, but the humans did not slow down. They reached the command room and took control. Ryan sent a message back. One of their main ships, uploading their files now. Lisa received the files. Her face went pale. Jake, she said, they were not just here to conquer us. They were going to burn the whole planet. Their main ship has a weapon that could destroy Earth's surface. Jake's eyes narrowed. Can we stop it? Yes, said Lisa. But we have to destroy the main ship before it charges. Jake gave the order. All ships, focus on the main target. We must stop that weapon. The human fleet turned. Missiles flew. Lasers fired. Enemy ships tried to block them. But the humans did not stop. Captain Mara's ship was hit. Fire spread across the side. She stood firm. Keep moving, she shouted. We end this now. She pushed her ship forward. It reached the enemy's main ship. She gave one last command. Detonate the core. For Earth, her ship exploded. In a bright light, the blast broke the enemy's weapon. The shockwave destroyed many ships around it. Silence returned. The enemy fleet broke apart. Some ships ran, some were taken. Others floated dead in space. Warlord Narak was captured. He looked at Jake Monroe with hate. You are monsters. Jake replied, no. We are humans, and we protect our own. Back on Earth, people came out of shelters. The sky was calm again. News spread fast. The second wave had failed. Earth had won. President Carter spoke to the world. They came with fire. We answered with strength. Let all who watch remember. We are not weak. We are not afraid. In the stars, human ships began patrol. No longer just for defense, but to watch the galaxy, to protect others, to stand guard. Earth had changed, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The stars above Earth were calm again. The second alien fleet had been defeated. Earth was safe, for now. But the war had changed everything. Humans were no longer just watchers of space. They were now fighters, builders, and guardians. Commander Jake Monroe stood on the deck of the new command ship. Horizon Dawn. He looked out the window at Earth, shining like a blue gem in the dark sky. His face was quiet, but his eyes were sharp. Lisa Brooks walked into the room. She held a tablet in her hand. We've finished going through the files from the enemy's main ship, she said. Jake turned to her. What did you find? Lisa's voice was serious. There is a signal, a call for help. The fleets we fought were only scouts. The real army is far away, on the other side of the galaxy. They will come when they get this signal. Jake looked at the stars again. How long do we have? Maybe 2 years. Maybe less. It depends how fast they travel. Jake nodded. Then we start now. Across Earth, every nation worked together. Factories built new ships. Scientists tested stronger weapons. Children learned about the stars, about war, and about peace. People no longer feared the sky. They prepared for it. Captain Mara Olden's name was remembered in every country. Her sacrifice had saved the world. A large statue was built on the moon base in her honor. Soldiers stood beside it and saluted every day. Ryan Taylor, the soldier who had taken the alien ship, now trained new fighters. He taught them how to move, how to think, and how to never give up. Lisa Brooks helped build the new AI system. It was faster than anything before. It helped guide ships and find danger before it reached Earth. She called it Sentinel. Jake. Monroe became the head of Earth's defense network. He worked without rest. He read every report. He watched every radar. He planned for the day the real enemy would return. But something strange happened. A ship came. It was not from Earth, but it was not part of the enemy either. It was small, old, and damaged. The humans found it near the edge of the solar system. They pulled it in and opened it. Inside, there were two beings. They were weak and sick. They looked like they had been running for a long time. Lisa examined them in the lab. One of them spoke. His voice was dry and cracked. "We are from the Drenari people. We escaped the enemy. They destroyed our worlds. We have no home now." Jake came. "To see them," he asked. "Why come to us?" The being looked at him with tired eyes. "Because we heard what you did. You beat their scouts. You stood your ground. The galaxy is watching now." News spread fast. Other races began sending messages. Some asked for help. Others offered help. They had all been scared. But now they saw Hope.Earth became a center for the free races. Ships came to learn, to trade, to train. Humans did not lead with pride. They listened, they shared. But they never forgot the cost. In the old Galactic Council, the seats were empty. The old leaders were gone or silent. But Ambassador Virik was still alive. He watched everything from his quiet home. One day, he sent a message to Jake. "You were right to prepare. We were wrong to laugh. Now the galaxy turns to you. Lead them." Well, Jake saved the message. He did not forget those early days. 1 year passed, then another. The sky stayed clear, but the humans did not stop. Then it happened. Sentinel picked up a signal. A large one, dozens of fleets, moving fast. The enemy had come. Lisa ran to the control center. "They're here, all of them." Jake stood in front of the screen. "Sound the alert. Bring everyone in." The Earth Defense Network came alive. Ships launched. Weapons charged. Shields went up. But Earth was not alone this time. Drenari ships joined the fight. Other races came to all. Those who had watched now stood with humans. The sky above Earth filled with ships. A wall of light and steel. Jake stood on the bridge of Horizon Dawn. "We fight together now," he said. "For every world they burned. For every voice they tried to silence. We are not afraid. We are ready." And when the enemy came, the sky burned again. But this time, it burned with the fire of a united force. The humans led the charge, but they did not stand alone in the end. The enemy broke. Their ships fell. Their weapons failed. Their leaders ran.Earth had changed the galaxy, not with fear, but with fire, with hope, and with the strength to rise when others laughed. The stars watched, and they remembered. Asterisk, the smoke had cleared. The war was over. Earth had stood tall while others had fallen. The sky, once filled with fire, now held peace. But peace was not quiet. Peace was work. And Earth had much work to do. Commander Jake Monroe sat in the main command hall of the Earth Defense Network. The room was larger now, built with help from alien friends. Screens showed every corner of the galaxy. Ships moved in and out. Trade grew. New alliances were born. Lisa Brooks entered the room with a report in her hand. The last enemy ship was destroyed near the edge of Andros Belt. All remaining signals are gone. Jake looked at her. "So it's truly over." Lisa nodded. "Yes, we won." Jake stood. He looked at the stars on the big screen. then it's time to build something better. Across the earth, people worked hard. The damage from the wars was being repaired. Cities rose again. New schools opened. Young people studied the stars and trained to protect their home. But they were also taught peace. They were taught to speak before fighting. The statue of Captain Mara Alden was moved to the center of the new Earth Alliance Hall. Her story was told in every language. People left flowers and messages beside her feet. She was more than a soldier. She was a symbol of courage. Ryan Taylor led peace teams to help new allies rebuild. He worked on burned planets and inside broken cities. He taught soldiers how to save lives instead of taking them. He smiled more now. He had seen too much war and wanted to make things better. Lisa helped form a shared science group with alien races. Together, they built faster ships and safer power. They found a new way to travel between stars using safe tunnels made by gravity. She called it the Ribbon Path. Soon, colonies started on planets far from Earth. People planted trees, built homes, and made new lives. They shared food, stories, and songs with aliens who became neighbors. The council that once laughed at Earth was now quiet. Many members had stepped down. A new group took their place. Some were human, others were from small, peaceful races. They sat in a round hall. No big chairs, no gold walls, just simple wood and stone. Ambassador Virik returned to speak one last time. He was old now. His steps were slow. He said, the humans were not loud. They were not proud. They warned us, and we did not listen. But they still saved us. That is what true strength is. He sat down, and the hall was silent for a long time. On Earth, President Leo Carter stepped down. He had led during the hardest times. Now he wanted peace. A new leader was chosen, someone younger, someone who had lived through the war and wanted a brighter world. Jake Monroe was offered a high position, but he said no. The galaxy doesn't need more warriors. It needs watchers. Quiet ones, I'll keep watch. That's enough. He moved to a small station near a quiet star. He lived there, still in uniform, still alert. Ships would sometimes visit him. Children would ask for stories. He always said the same thing. We were not born ready. We became ready. Not because we wanted war, but because we loved peace. Lisa stayed in orbit, running the science center. She looked at data and wrote long notes, but she also wrote poems and stories. She said science was truth, but stories gave it a soul. Years passed, the sky stayed calm. Earth grew stronger, not with weapons, but with kindness. Old enemies became friends. New children grew up hearing not just about war, but about unity. A young girl once asked Jake Monroe, why did they laugh at us? Jake smiled, because they didn't know us. And sometimes it's easy to laugh at what you don't understand. But we showed them, not with anger, but with courage. She asked, will they come again? He looked at the stars. Maybe, but if they do, we'll be ready, and we'll still try peace first. And so the galaxy turned, full of light and shadow. But Earth no longer feared the dark. It had faced fire. It had stood alone. Then it had stood with others, and the stars remembered, not just the day the sky burned, but the day the humans changed everything.